The movie starts off with a narration of World War II. However, in this narration, Hitler did not go missing. Instead, he fled to Ghana with Hideki Tojo and Hermann Göring via submarine. This Hitler has superpowers, which slows down his aging rapidly, keeping him fit and strong. However, Hitler and his friends are causing problems in the neighborhoods and were getting away with it because of their impressive karate skills. Furthermore, he was turning the locals into zombie goons with his blood flag. The movie then cuts to Ade, who is a popular man in town. He meets his girlfriend Eva, who cautions him not to forget their date later in the evening. Ade also walks past the town drunk, who asks him about Kung Fu. Ade smiles and walks off to his training. However, he is late to the Shadow Snake School and is disciplined by the master, who orders him to pose in a horse stance for 10 minutes, which Ade struggles to hold. The master then announces to his students that there will be a tournament held later on, and he was expecting nothing less than a victory. He mentions that there will be 2 representatives from the school, with his best student, Akante, being one of them. He then states that the second representative will be picked after evaluating the students. Ade pleads to be the second student, but he is hushed by the master while in his stance. After an intense training session with flips and kicks, and with the master knocking down all his students, he picks Abueku as the second fighter at the tournament, to which Abueku is delighted. After the students are dismissed, Akante tries to cheer Ade, jokingly mentioning that he would give up his spot in the tournament to spend time with Ade's girlfriend, Eva. Later in the day, Ade is on a date with Eva. Dejected because he was not picked for the tournament, he goes hard on the alcohol, and his girlfriend chastises him for focusing on Kung Fu instead of getting a real job and quit being an embarrassment. She also mentions that her father will not allow them to get married as long as Ade keeps practicing Kung Fu over having an actual job. He responds by emphasizing that the tournament would change his life, especially if he won the upcoming tournament. Meanwhile, Hitler calls his army together and initiates 2 new members, turning them into zombies. He also talks about the tournament, informing them of the glory to come if one of them wins it for the Ghanaians. Hideki then patrols the streets of Ghana, handing out pamphlets for the tournament while collecting payment for the locals. One of the locals decides not to pay, leading to her shop being vandalized and taking a super punch to the gut, killing her in the process. He then runs into Eva and a friend and is smitten by her beauty. He asks them for a kiss, to which they deny him. This prompts him to force himself on them. Afterwards, the Ghanaians then head to the Shadow Snake School and attack it while looking for a tribute. Understanding that they are in a losing battle, Abueku seeks help and finds Ade, who is enjoying his liquor. After convincing him to join the fight, they run to the school where Hitler is in battle against the master. After a fierce back and forth, Hitler ultimately kills the master, and angered Ade aims to avenge his master's death, but he is stopped by a super punch from Hideki. Adding insult to injury, Hideki then cuts off Ade's fingers. With the school destroyed and the master buried, Ade eventually realizes that he has not seen or heard from Eva. However, he thinks she's still angry at him, even calling off the engagement until he finds her at one of Hitler's parties, being one of the escorts. Angered at this discovery, Ade registers for the tournament and is provoked by Hitler's right-hand man. In rage, Ade strikes the man but is unsuccessful as he is almost beaten to a pulp, but he is saved by the drunkard of the town, who implements the drunken style to battle Hitler's right-hand man. The next day, Ade wakes up in the forest, which happens to be the home of the drunkard. Ade thanks the man for saving him and asks who he is. The man reveals himself to be Master Apeteshe after the drink because he loves Apeteshe, to which both men laugh. The conversation then turns serious when Ade asks the master to be a student as he sees that his skills are formidable against the Ghanaians. Apeteshe warns Ade that training would not be easy and would have to change his mindset on fighting. Ade agrees and spends more than a month learning the drunken style of fighting. Just when Ade believes he is ready, the master tells him to even be better, as he has to traverse the Hill of the Dead to meet another master that will be deadlier than himself. An impatient Ade traverses up the hill, and after a few days, he meets another master who is talking to himself in the bush, also with his 3 fingers cut off. This unhinged master calls himself 3-Finger Joe, stating that his techniques are only for people with 3 fingers. Hence, he would have to chop off Ade's fingers if he were to learn his technique. When he attempts to do that, he realizes that Ade's fingers are already being chopped off, prompting him to label Ade as the chosen one. He also informs Ade that a priestess prophesied that a 3-fingered man would approach him for training. He gladly trains Ade for another few days, focusing primarily on the 3-finger technique. At the end of the training, the 3-finger master tells Ade he still has to meet the priestess before facing Hitler. Ade asks where she is, but the master tells him that she will find him. While walking back home, Ade is exhausted and falls into a deep sleep but he's woken up by the priestess. She takes him to a shrine and after some incantations gives him a thread that will protect him from the blood flag. Rejuvenated and ready, Ade arrives at the tournament, where Akante and other fighters await the competition. With Hitler and Eva looking on, there's also a luchador, a Muay Thai boxer, and a Ghanaian wrestler in the lineup. After a spirited welcome, Hitler commences the tournament. The first fight is between the wrestler and a fierce woman, which ends in victory for the woman. The next battle is between the Muay Thai fighter and the goon of Hitler, which turns out to be a very one-sided fight for Hitler's henchman. Ade is up next and he battles a luchador who sounds exactly like Macho Man Randy Savage. After a tough battle, Ade wins by gouging the luchador's eyes out. Akante ends the matches for the day by winning his match, ripping out the heart of his enemy. Later in the evening, Hitler is having a drink with his buddies and gloats that even though some of his fighters lost their battles, he will have the last laugh and he will put Akante and Ade against each other, knowing that they are close friends. Meanwhile, Ade and Akante realize this and agree to fight honorably to the death. The next day, Hitler's goon destroys the fierce lady. Even after insulting her, Akante and Ade are next as they engage in a fierce battle, one they do not want to be in. Akante urges Ade not to pull his punches since he believes the winner of the fight would win the whole tournament. A grief-stricken Ade refuses to kill Akante, screaming that they are brothers, all to the anger of Hitler. This prompts his goon to end Akante's life instead, to the horror of Ade. This is the final battle of the day. Later in the day, Ade finds Eva and confronts her about their dissolved relationship. But to his surprise, Eva has no recollection of who he is. As he tries to convince her of who he is, she throws up on him and continues to do so every time he mentions her name. She hurries off as Ade professes his love for her. The next day is the day of the final, and it's between Ade and the goon that killed Akante. In a fight to the death, with the goon having an early advantage, Ade eventually releases his frustrations and kills the goon by slamming his head into the ground. This infuriates Hitler, who confronts Ade, manipulating Ade into fighting Hitero. Already tired from the previous battles, Ade is knocked down by the super punches from Hitero. As Hitero is about to land the killing blow onto Ade, Ade changes his fighting style to that of drunken boxing, something Hitero is unable to defend against. Ade eventually defeats Hitero, also destroying his glasses. Hitler then asks what Ade would like in return for his victory, which prompts Ade to ask for the blood flag, which Hitler completely disagrees with and rejects. Regardless, Ade approaches and burns the flag, which removes the spell off all the people under the influence. Hitler runs off with Ade in pursuit. A gun chase ensues, with Hitler shooting down people until he's trapped behind the red Toyota Matrix. Ade is shot in the arm, however he is able to fire a bullet through the car, which explodes, killing Hitler. The movie ends a few days later as peace is restored and Hitero is even selling goat heads in the market. Ade and Eva are back together, with Ade proposing to open a kung fu school, which Eva supports. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you enjoy movies like this, turn on notifications to be alerted when we narrate new movies, and like this to help us get recognized.